Welcome back to the JJs Declutter Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about our book,
Big news.
Speed Decluttering.
It's launching today. Today's
Today's the
January
day.
30th, 2025, and our book is launching.
And it's exciting because, number one, Janis and I have, we've always had these little thoughts of, oh, people want to do things faster, everybody's into doing things quick. And, there's got to be a way to speed up decluttering. And we have developed a few things to help you do that.
Yep.
So, one of the things is the Fastpitch Game, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But Janis, share with our lovely audience what the inspiration was behind our book.
So, the inspiration behind our book was that I've been decluttering for a really long time. Julie has been trying to declutter also for at least 5 years, give or take a couple of months. I've been doing it, gosh, since 2005. I mean, I started to try to do it and I kept getting stuck. I developed um, housekeeping skills, which is awesome. That's why I got into habits of cleaning things. But
Mhm.
decluttering just wasn't easy. And until I knew, until I could figure out what, why I couldn't declutter things, it just wasn't working. I mean, I literally tried for years and couldn't do it. So once we figured out what that step was to help you finally let go of your clutter, it's almost like the floodgates open and you can just let things go and you regain your space. So rather than have to go through all the little steps that we went through and the trial and error, we decided to put it all in one book so you can learn from our mistakes and you don't have to make them.
Right. Exactly. One of the other things about decluttering was, especially for me, is I didn't know why I cluttered in the first place. So as soon as I figured that out, I was able to deal with that emotionally and move on. And I like to do things a little quicker. It's like if it's a 5 or 12 minute thing, I can do that. But if it's longer than that, I tend to get bogged down or distracted or something. So speed decluttering, when Janice and I started doing this and coming up with things like our fast pitch game, it has really helped me in making quicker decisions and actually getting things done. I thought, oh, 1 minute, yeah, right, that's going to do a lot. And oh my gosh, once we made it into a game, it was like, holy macaroni, this is great. It really works. So we're going to share that with you today.
Yes, we are. So the thought behind fast pitch was it's oriented, right? Fat. So you can, when you pitch something, it's kind of like tossing something out. That's what goes through my head. And since we're trying to throw things away to get them out of our house, fast pitch, we were kind of being cutesy and it's like, oh, we can make it baseball themed. We can have innings. We can have the seventh inning stretch. We
Right.
can keep score. We can come up with a batting average, which is basically a percentage of what's leaving your house versus how much you sorted. And it gave us a way to analyze whether we were making progress.
Right.
And kind of my thought process was, if we can make it easier for you to make those decluttering decisions quicker, decluttering will become less painful. You'll get it done. You'll make your decisions faster, and it's going to make everything easier, and you won't avoid decluttering as much. So,
Right.
if in 1 minute you can make decisions faster, then what you've sorted and what you've decided to get rid of, you just let them march out the door and you put away the things that you're keeping or that you need to move and that live elsewhere. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what fast pitch is. A
Mhm.
little bit more involved in that, but We wanted to come up with an approach where you are making quicker decisions, building practice so you can make those quicker decisions because clutter is just postponed decisions,
It really
literal.
is. And one of the other things, one of the other silver linings, I guess, with this is that, especially with people that have ADHD, they they really need things to be short focus bursts because that's just how their brain works, and which is absolutely fine. And this works fabulous for that because it is 1 minute increments, and you can so do this. So the way to play. Um, first, you want to choose an area. Choose a small area, like a drawer. Like in my kitchen, I have 7 drawers, and so I can actually get to the seventh inning stretch if I do 1 minute per drawer. But some of the drawers have more things in them than others, and so it may take me 2 innings to go through one of the drawers, and that's absolutely fine. But you want to choose your area and then set your timer, just
One
the
minute.
1 minute thing. And you can do it with an actual, three-dimensional timer. You can use your, hey Google or Alexa or whatever it is. um, I'm afraid to
Helen,
say that out loud, it'll start talking back to me. And so you can set your timer for 1 minute, and
you can
then
use your phone. You could
Mhm.
use your Fitbit timer. There are all sorts of, you don't have to get a special timer. I have a lot of timers, but because I'm used to using physical timers. But 1 minute, we're asking 1 minute of focused decision making.
Right. So what we suggest, you can empty the drawer out. So if you're I'm just going to talk like it's my kitchen drawers. So empty the drawer out, set your timer, and go. And so, first, what I do when I empty the drawers, I actually clean it, I wipe it out, but that's not in the minute. So, you take everything out, set your timer, you've got 1 minute, and then you have that 1 minute to decide what is going to stay. And I just pick out the things that I know are going to stay, and the other things, obviously, I don't need, or they live elsewhere. If other people have been helping you in your kitchen, things may be in the wrong spot. That just happens. So,
So, so when I do fast pitch, I take my area and my decision is, do I want to keep it or do I don't want to keep it? It's that simple. Am I keeping it? Yes. Am I not keeping it? No. And I sort. Keep, no, keep, no. My goal is to try and get through 30 things in 1 minute. That's making a decision every 2 seconds. That's fast. So the goal, you're not going to necessarily start out that fast, but after you've been doing it a while, 2 to 3 seconds. So you're getting through 20 to 30 items every minute. And if you can get rid of, say, 20%, or so if you're doing 20, if you get through 20 things, you get rid of 4 items, that's 20%. That's big. That's actually a lot.
yeah,
It's going to
yeah.
add up.
Absolutely. And one of the nice things is once you get to the seventh inning stretch, so you've done 7 innings, now you can go put those live elsewhere things away. And you can also take your stuff to your donation station and the things that you're going to give away that way. And then you can come back and finish your last couple innings. And what's nice about it is that you have total control. It's a yes or a no. Every item that you touch is a yes or a no. And um, one of the things that kind of keeps you focused, if you have a TikTok clock, just say it. You hear that TikTok, it's like, oh, I can beat that. But it really, stop and look at, do you really use that? And I found I have a thing for kitchen utensils. I have a lot of kitchen utensils, but I do use the vast majority of them. But there are a few spatula spoon things that I have that I really liked when I first got them. And I bought one of every color. So I had like six. And then I discovered every time I reach into my utensil bucket, I am not grabbing those. I'm grabbing my other spatulas before those. So those are starting to wean their way. I'm down to two now. So starting to wean their way out of my house. But it was interesting to stop and think about that when I was doing those utensils because I picked it, oh, I'm keeping that. And it was like, but I never pick you up to use you. I use those instead. And so it actually went in a let go pile. And that was kind of eye opening to me, which has also helped me in cutting down on the number of utensils that I tend to impulsively buy. I have to think it
So
through.
when you're making your decisions, a lot of times you're going through your head is, have I used it in the last 3 months? I mean, there are all these different rules. Go with your gut. Do I
Absolutely.
want it or don't I want it? And if you
Just as
say
simple as that.
after you put it in the don't want, if you change your mind and you do want it, then move it back to the want. It's fine. You're in charge of making the decisions, but the more you do it, the more you're going to find that some of those things that you thought you wanted, you don't necessarily want anymore.
True.
So it's good
True.
to revisit this, but really keep it simple. Don't ask a whole bunch of questions because that's going to slow down your decision making. Your goal is to make 2 to 3 second decisions because you're going to become so much faster at decluttering other things just because you're doing this. So you don't do everything the fast pitch strategy,
Correct.
but
Correct.
as you get better at it, you'll pick something up and you won't even think about it. You go, oh, I don't want that anymore. And it goes in the trash or it goes in the donations. Um,
Right.
and when you get to that point, you are taking control of your stuff. Your stuff is not in control of you and your home.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's the decision making, making those fast decisions and doing it in focused bursts is what's
Mhm.
going to help you declutter faster and end up doing speed decluttering.
So one of the things that excuse me, have discovered with this game is that you can you can adapt it. So we always suggest at least start with the way that we say start with 1 minute. But if you have physical limitations or things like that, and you need more than a minute, then try 90 seconds or try 2 minutes. But we really do suggest start and try with the 1 minute first. But then you can, like I said, you can always adjust it and adapt it to what is going to work for you physically and mentally.
So what else?
And
We do have a score sheet.
yes, we do, we do.
And if you're on our audio only
Here, let me share
podcast
it right there.
and go
There we
to
go.
our website and get a copy of the scorecard. So it's
So it shows you the different innings. And so the playing field, that's your area that you're like, drawer number one in the kitchen or whatever. Safe, those are the keepers. Out, those live elsewhere. Which, those are the things you're tossing. Knocked out of the park, those are the things you're donating. And so then you can have the total of all the items. So say there was 50 items in the drawer, and how many items did you pitch and donate? So how many pitch and how many knocked out of the park? And then you divide those to get your batting average. And we have this set up so that you can fill it in and it'll automatically think of the batting average. But if it doesn't, we'll give you the way to do it.
well, the PDF does not automatically do it. That would be the Excel sheet, and I don't think we have the Excel sheet available yet anywhere.
Not
But we will
quite.
make it available when we do our workshop
Yes, we
in
will.
February.
Yes, we will. So that is
That's the game
that's the
and
game, the fast pitch
and the
game.
scorecard.
Hmm.
And
So
the thing,
hopefully this will help you get started in some areas that you've been dreading starting, because you can just spend a minute or two and make a dent. And that's awesome.
and the interesting thing about this game is that we had people who we had been decluttering with for a couple of years, and they started playing this game and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it actually made it easier for me to get through that pile of clothes in that box that I've been hanging on to forever." And now it was like, "Oh, no, 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 yes, no, no, no." And they
Right.
got through it without even batting an eye at making the decisions, because they had gotten used to making the quicker decisions and trusting in their instincts on whether or not they really wanted to keep something. I mean, just because you've kept it for 20 years doesn't mean you have to keep it for another 5, right?
Right. Right. So it has been very encouraging. And in February, we are going to have a speed decluttering workshop. So you can go onto Amazon or Kindle and check out our book, and then come and join our speed decluttering workshop that we're going to have in February. So we encourage you to give this a try, because it's fun, and it's very quick, and it really does help get those decision making muscles going. And what I have found is that it has lessened decision fatigue for me,
Yeah.
um, on other things. I seem to be able, because I am able to make quicker decisions now. It is, I guess it's just easier on my system, and so I'm able to say keep or let go, and
I think it
move right on.
reduces some of those feelings of when you think about this is a gift, or this is sentimental, and then you start just looking at it as objects.
Right.
And it's easier to make decisions on objects than it is to make decisions on things
On emotions.
that have an emotional tie,
Right.
or you're putting that onto the item.
Gotcha.
And I think it helps make you realize that the things in your house it's just stuff, rather
It is just
than
stuff.
individual items that, oh, mom gave that to me, or that was grandma's, or whatever. And if you don't use it, it's just stuff. Take a picture
Yeah.
of it and let it
Let it
go and
go.
be used by somebody else. Because a lot of the
Right.
stuff we keep can be used. And it's really interesting because the younger generation, they are definitely becoming more minimalistic, meaning that they aren't hanging on to things the way that our parents did. I mean,
Right.
I had depression baby parents. So they passed on some of their feelings about their belongings. And based
Mhm.
on that, I have certain things. And then, like, my niece, something stays in the house for 2 weeks and then it's gone. And it's just really interesting how what we learn as children affects our relationship with the things that we buy and own. Because
Absolutely.
with Amazon, my kids will say, "Oh, well, I can get another one in 24 hours, so I'm not going to store that." And not that's not how I was brought up. But if you don't have the space to store it and you're not going to use it a lot, then I guess it makes sense. So
Right.
if it makes sense to you, and economically you can afford to get rid of things and then replace them, I guess that's the cost of using it rather than storing it, because when you store things in your house, there is a cost to that too.
Right.
The real estate is using costs. You could be using that space for other things, for enjoyment, rather than storing things. So
Right.
it depends on what's more important to you.
Absolutely. So with that, your mission, Jim, should you choose to accept it, is buy the speed decluttering book, and then sign up for our speed decluttering workshop, and just go and try. Set your timer for 1 minute and do one drawer and just see how that goes. Once you see how that goes, you'll be back to get the tracking chart, because it does really help. It
And
really,
it's
really does.
practice. It's a way for you to practice and become better at decluttering.
That's right. And you're going to get better just in time for spring training.
Yes.
All right. And so with that, I guess we are done for this week.
Yes.
And as always, keep it simple, keep it intentional, and keep decluttering.
Yep. Bye.